THPRD Board of Directors meetings for October 13th, 2021. Jessica, can you please call roll?
Tia Ping.
Here.
Heidi Edwards.
Here.
Barbie Miner. Felicita Monteblanca.
Here.
Alfredo Moreno.
Here.
Sorry, I lost the okay, and I don't think there was no action items resulting from executive session, so we will move to our proclamation today. Is everyone ready? I will start. So, whereas each year Americans observe National Native American Heritage Month by affirming and acknowledging the culture, heritage, innumerable contributions, and by raising awareness of the ongoing challenges faced by Native Americans, and
whereas the national observance began in 1990, and
whereas THPRD honors and values the unique and rich contributions of all community members and strives to create a welcoming and inclusive park and recreation system that is accessible and welcoming to everyone, and
whereas the THPRD community is strengthened and made better by the many significant contributions of Native and Indigenous tribes and communities that have long made these lands their home, and
whereas Indigenous people have handed down oral histories, science, governance, a distinct relationship with nature, and continue to contribute to the cultural, educational, and spiritual fabric of our community, and
whereas THPRD recognizes that the district rests on Native lands and was originally home to the Tualatin Kalapuya, affiliated with the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, and
whereas we honor the rich diversity of the people we serve and have much work to do to develop active partners with the Native American community today, and
whereas THPRD wishes to recognize the second Monday of October as Indigenous Peoples Day and affirms our commitment to stand with Indigenous peoples against systemic racism.
now, therefore, the Board of Directors of the Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District does hereby declare the month of November 2021 as National Native American Heritage Month and the second Monday in October as Indigenous Peoples Day, and do urge all those in Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District to support and promote this observance. Thank you. All right. So I think we have presentations. First
You
from
bet.
Holly.
Yeah, Holly and Jess Breed will handle the Visioning Task Force.
All right, good evening, everyone. I am Holly Thompson, your Communications Director. And if I could I invite all of the members of the Visioning Task Force to turn on your cameras, please. So Jaspreet and I are here tonight with many members of our Vision Task Force, our rock stars, to celebrate. We're going to go to the next slide. THPRD being honored with the International Association of Public Participation, IAP2, the mouthful, the United States chapter Project of the Year for Public Involvement, which is amazing. And we wanted to do this celebration in person, but we're all living in the world as we know it right now. So we're doing it virtually, which is not the way we wanted to do it, but we're at least here together virtually and in spirit. So quick little bit of background about IAP2. It is the organization that works to establish best practices for public involvement. It is an international organization. It is in 26 countries, and 48 states in the United States are a part of the organization. THPRD, we're going to go to the next slide. Our visioning process was evaluated, the IAP2 core values. So in our application, we had to speak to all of the core values that really represent the best of the best for standards for public involvement. And they really center around making sure that decisions are co-produced, that we work with the communities most directly impacted by the decisions as government agencies, that we are transparent, that we are inclusive, that we make sure that people have an ability to influence the decisions that are being made, and that we communicate how their input was used in the decision-making process. And so to the next slide. Jaspreet's going to take away.
Thanks, Holly. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jaspreet Chahal, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'd like to share a little bit about the two national awards that the district's visioning process was honored with. The first being the 2021 IAP2 USA Project of the Year, and which means that the project now moves forward to the international competition to compete against projects from all over the world, including Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and other countries as well. The second is the 2021 IAP2 USA Core Values Award, specifically for respect for diversity, inclusion, and culture. And Holly's holding up the trophy, so thank you for that. We were honored last month in a virtual ceremony that many of you were present for, and we were joined by our Visioning Task Force members as well. And this honor was again aligned with the core values that the agency has set forward, and they have been in existence for the past 25 years and are just as valid. If we could go to the next slide. And this is really all we had for you today. I think we really wanted to thank our Visioning Task Force members, as Holly mentioned, our rock stars who co-created the process, who co-led the work, whose final culmination we see as a vision action plan that will step forward how we move forward as a district. And then on your screen, you see everyone's names, so 13 people, as well as this photo that you may have seen before, taken at the very first meeting in May of 2019, including the little baby who showed up at our first meeting, and we had a ball holding her. We each took turns. Now I'd like to invite Holly Van Houten from the Visioning Task Force, as well as Shreya Jain, to say a few words.
Should I go first? I'm Holly. Yeah, I'm Holly Van Houten, and it was my privilege to be part of this Vision Task Force. And I really thank you for the opportunity. It was a really meaningful one, that it felt like this was an opportunity to contribute to parks and natural areas that are really important to me. And I wanted to just reflect a little bit about the uniqueness of this process, and I think why we ended up getting the award. I personally and professionally, I've done a lot of public engagement and public process, but this was a unique experience where I got to really speak in a deep and real way with people who came to the tables, and we had just a chance to have a real conversation, neighbor to neighbor, not staff to resident or stakeholder to a different stakeholder. It was very much a neighbor to neighbor type of experience, and that gave them a chance to tell us about their hopes and dreams for parks. And then when we moved into the action team process, which is where we really refined, I think it was like 10,000 ideas. Staff, THPRD staff, and subject matter experts were there with us, but they really respected team members as having our own expertise, and that was to speak and share the voice of the people we had spoken with. And to me, it really felt like that tone and that direction had to come from staff leaders and the board. And I really appreciate that THPRD really embraced an inclusive participation process. So I'm incredibly proud that we've won the national award, and I think we are, really strongly in the running for the international award. But whether we get it or not, I feel like we've already won as a community, because I think we all came together and created a really good process for the district and for all of us. So I just want to thank you, board members, for supporting that, and applaud Jaspreet and Holly for their leadership throughout. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thanks. Holly, you said a lot of what I was going to say with just how amazing the process was. And I actually joined the Visioning Task Force because I kind of grew up with THPRD and I took classes as a kid, and then I was like a summer nature camp volunteer. And so I've always had, THPRD has always been a really special place in my heart. So I felt like it was so great to be a part of the visioning experience to really think about the next generations to come. And I really appreciated, as Holly mentioned, like working with and being at the table with these subject matter experts. I was an urban planning student when at the time of the task force, and it was really great to see the process of public engagement working in the way it was. And it feels like THPRD has become really responsive to what the community has said that they want and need. And it's great to see that the ideas that we have collected have been refined and then now are going to be implemented. So it's been a great process for me. And thanks again to everyone at THPRD and the board and Jaspreet and Holly. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That concludes our presentation. We want to turn it over to the board. But this really was just a moment for us to celebrate this amazing accomplishment and honor the gift of time, all the effort. These folks went to 117 meetings and events over 5 months. They hit it out of the park. They set a goal of talking to 10,000 people and they did it. And they just gave it their all. And we are so blessed and in such a better position because of all of their volunteerism. And I got to tell you, they weren't shy. They told us every time we came up with an idea, nah, do it this way, do it that way. And one of the innovations that they really brought that, taught me, I've been working in this field for 20 years, and they had so much rich, robust discussion about every time we went out in the community, we needed to have multiple ways for people to share information with us, right? They also, they were just absolutely instrumental in making sure that we went outside of THPRD spaces. Jaspreet and I gave a presentation today at an IAP2 webinar, and one of the stats that we shared is that the majority, in fact, 68% of our community engagement activities were outside of THPRD properties. That's how much we got out there, and that's how much work we did for cross-cultural communication, youth engagement, and it really was, I give so much credit to the VTF for their stewardship, their leadership, their pushing, all their creativity, all their advocacy, all of their ideas, and all of their hard work. So thank you all so much for your service.
Does any of the boards have any comments? Heidi?
Just real briefly, I think this is a great testament to the power of community volunteers and the work that can be done when we engage our community. So thanks to each of you, and kudos of being part of that gala and hearing these stories of these other people and projects being recognized. It just, you really stood and showed what you can do as a community of volunteers. So thank you. And Jaspreet and Holly and team, great work.
Lisa?
Tremendous thank you, and continue to be impressed. I'm not surprised that you're winning national awards. Of course you are, because this is amazing. And I'll just highlight that we as a board recommitted this evening to continue our work around the community visioning. And so we as leaders are committed to ensuring that all your hard work doesn't go to waste. It doesn't sit on a shelf, right? We are actively using it to guide the future of the district. And so there's ripple effects of your work. So thank you.
Alfredo?
Well, I'll be honest, the one thing that was going through my mind while you all were sharing your great stories of your experience was just to totally date myself with like the Wayne's World, we're not worthy. I just am so impressed to be riding on the coattails as a new board member of this incredible work. And I think one of the biggest things that what you all did was not just gathering information, but building connections with the community, building goodwill that's going to be seeds that are planted within people that say, hey, this big organization actually does care about what I think and what my neighbor thinks and what my child or my parent thinks. And I think I would hope that other large organizations would look to this effort and this success and use your work as a model for what can be done. So tip of the cap. Thank you very much.
I 100% echo everything that my board members have said. I know we talked about it in our board meeting earlier this evening that we were so thankful to have the information that you guys all collected together and all the hard work you've done to have a baseline for us to help rebuild and continue on in the future. What you guys have done as a group is just amazing and has and is deeply affecting the district and how we do things in what we do. And so I hope you guys just really, I'm so glad that of course you would win this award, but I'm so glad that it's recognized because sometimes, we give ourselves a pat on the back. And the beauty of volunteers is you're happy with just giving something back, but to really have that recognized by your board, by your staff, by this national big group is just a wonderful gift. And I really just want to let you guys know that we see all the work that you've done and we're just so appreciative to have it as a foundation that will affect us for a really long time and affect the community and everything we've done. So thank you. Okay, Doug, now for you.
No problem. All I really wanted to add too was there was a particular component of the process that I absolutely fell in love with because it's not just the uniqueness with regard to the co-production of the final product. Because I've been, several of you are heavily engaged in public engagement, and it is not unusual that the staff say thank you, they run away to a corner, they draft it all out, and they say, just put a stamp on this, and if you have about 3 minutes to do it. This was unique. This was a cooperative process, but respectfully said, Holly and Jaspreet are members of our staff, great members of our staff. But you all engaged, and that's what makes the real product. So it's really interesting to see, and I'm hoping we will continue those efforts, and others will see this kind of effort. That doing it cooperatively is always a better product.
Yay! Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have Metro Parks and Nature Levy renewal with our friend Juan Carlos.
Hey folks. Super nice to see you all. And can I just say I'm not at all surprised that you're winning awards. Love the leadership of this board and of the staff that support the work of THPRD. And really happy to share that from the last time I came to give a presentation, I became a homeowner in the district. And so that's really awesome. And so now I get to enjoy THPRD parks and trails, and I'm I feel a part of the district, which is really great. So I thought I would share. As was mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm here with our very own Metro Parks and Nature Director, John Blasher, who I will be introducing in just a little bit. And in this presentation, wanted to speak with you about the Metro Parks and Nature Levy, which is up for renewal next year, and talk a little bit more about what is going on with our process and our community engagement. So if I could get the next slide, please. All right, excellent. Well, I'll start officially here. Board President Pang and members of the Board of Directors, thank you for the opportunity to present to you this evening. For the record, I am Metro Councilor Juan Carlos Gonzalez, representing North and Western Washington County, And like I mentioned earlier, Metro Parks and Nature Director John Blasher is with me. Over the past 25 years, with your advocacy partnership, voters have strongly supported the creation of a unique regional park system centered on restoring and maintaining our natural areas. Nearly everything Metro has accomplished with Parks and Nature has been accomplished with the support of voters and the partnership of local communities and service providers. We're grateful for THPRD's partnership and leadership in bringing Parks and Nature to the local community. Together, we've accomplished so much in protecting our natural areas and making it more accessible and welcoming to all. And with that, I'm going to pass it to John to carry on the rest of the presentation, since he's the subject matter expert. And you don't need me to explain the many ways that we already get to work together through the parks bonds and through the existing levy. So I'll pass it off to John.
Thank you, Councilor Gonzalez, Board President Ping. Jessica, if we could go to the next slide, please. As Councilor Gonzalez mentioned, my name is John Blasher. I use he, him, his pronouns. I have the privilege of serving as the director for our Parks and Nature Department at Metro. And I'm here to provide some more detail and updates on the current local option levy and a potential renewal. But before we jump into that, I also wanted to mention some of the work that we're partnering on with you and your staff to implement the Parks and Nature bond measure that was passed by voters in 2019 to improve water quality, protect fish and wildlife, and connect people to nature across 6 program areas, which are listed out here: the Land Acquisition and Restoration Program, Local Parks and Nature Projects, Nature Neighborhood Capital Grants, Metro Park Improvements, Walking and Biking Trails, and large-scale community projects. The bond measure also explicitly prioritizes work to make the region more resilient to climate change and outcomes that benefit people of color, indigenous communities, and other communities who have not benefited equitably from past investments. Wanted to give a big thanks to Director Monteblanco, who was very involved in the development of the 2019 Parks and Nature Bond measure. And also want to acknowledge the work and partnership that THPRD and General Manager Doug Menke have invested in helping us launch the bond, especially with our local share program and getting it right for the region's park providers and in meeting the bond criteria. In the bond, the phase we're in right now is called refinement, which involves turning that bond language and high-level policy into ready projects and programs ready to invest across the region. So we're excited about some of the work that I wanted to share with a few highlights of the upcoming opening for Chehalem Ridge Nature Park later this year. So that's a new 1,200-acre nature park that will provide visitors with 10 miles of new trails to hike, bike, ride horses, and all sorts of all-ability trails as well. Levy money will help support the community planning process for this park, and included a partnership with Centro Cultural to engage the county's growing Latino Latinx community. Parks and Nature staff have also finalized the local share materials so that the region parks providers can continue to identify and submit priority projects for local share funding that protects clean water, restores habitat, and connects people to nature close to home. We know that your board recently considered, or will be soon, looking at a list of priorities for local share submissions, and we're ready and excited to continue working with you and your team in bringing those projects forward for consideration. Also wanted to extend congratulations on winning the IAP2 Core Values Award. That's very exciting, and I think just demonstrates your commitment to community engagement and understanding community teams. So your team is really doing a great job in modeling the values of some of this Parks and Nature Bond criteria. Next slide, please. So the bond measure and the levy work together to maximize our impact for community members. Metro has about 17,000 acres of parks, trails, and natural areas across the Tri-County area, welcoming nearly 2.5 million visitors a year. And we provide a crucial public service, which we've all seen and needed during this pandemic. So bond dollars must be spent on work that creates capital projects like land acquisition and park amenities. However, those capital projects are only as effective if they're maintained, operated, and have programs to support and utilize them. For example, building of a new park requires rangers to operate and maintain the park while also providing education enforcement opportunities. to fund this critical maintenance operations and programs that support, improve, and restore what we've built together. In 2013, voters across the greater Portland approved a 5-year local option levy. Voters later overwhelmingly approved a 5-year renewal. That raises about $16 million a year while costing only a typical homeowner approximately $20 a year. So Councilor Gonzalez, as a new homeowner, you will be contributing to that process. Thank you. Levy funding is set to expire in June 2023, and our Metro Council has asked the Parks and Nature staff to develop a potential levy renewal for their consideration in 2022. It's going to build off of the existing framework and funding areas. It's going to prioritize racial equity and climate resilience, and won't be raising taxes by keeping the same rates. More information about the levy and potential levy renewal is available. You can see up here on the website, oregonmetro.gov/future funding. Next slide, please. So to provide a little bit more detail about what this levy actually supports, about half of the current levy focuses on restoring and maintaining habitat on land that has been acquired over the course of 2 decades and 3 voter-approved bond measures. The other half of the levy helps to support our park operations, improving access at Metro destinations, expands our volunteer and community education program, and provides community grants for nature projects and partnerships. So you can see sort of these 5 core areas of where these levy funds are invested to help bring to life the capital investments of the bond. Next slide, please. So as you can see from this map, levy investments span the entire region. Sorry that this very small graphics, it's tough to fit the entire region in all these little bubbles, but these bubbles are showing the different types of investments that we provide, and trying to show that spread out. Happy to provide all of these slides and materials for deeper diving too. But as you can see, investments span the entire region. We know that investments in healthy habitat anywhere in the region benefits residents everywhere in the region. So anywhere we invest helps to benefit everyone everywhere when it comes to habitat, water quality, fish and wildlife opportunities. So whether that's pollinators for crops, access to nature, more backyard birds, clean water, all those different investments that can help build climate resilience as well. You can also see on this map that Cooper Mountain is one of the sites that has seen the most extensive investment in restoration and maintenance. And we really appreciate the opportunity to co-manage that site with THPRD staff for a really great experience at that nature park. Metro's restoration dollars are invested throughout the portfolio on high priority habitats and projects that are informed by science and engagement with stakeholders and community members. Our investments in partnerships, both staff time and dollars, help to anchor and leverage the work of many partners, including THPRD, Clean Water Services, and others. I also want to acknowledge that this map just shows the levy funded investments in restoration and maintenance and some of the park access improvement programs and community grants and partnerships. This doesn't necessarily show the funding for our park operations and community education and stewardship. Next slide, please. All right. So we've been proud to partner with THPRD on multiple bond and levy funded projects that maximize our collective impact to community members. This includes a number of public access and visitor improvements at the ever popular Cooper Mountain Nature Park. We've also been proud to provide local share through Metro bond measures to support THPRD projects, including work at the well-loved Jackie Houston Park in Cedar Mills. Nearly $500,000 in local share in the 2008 bond helped THPRD acquire a 1-acre parcel. Later park improvements, largely funded through local share funds, allow visitors to connect with nature at the park, which features forests and slopes down to Cedar Mill Creek. THP also used local share money from Metro to acquire Morrison Woods Natural Area in Beaverton. Visitors are able to have a forested mountain view today, a top view today, and enjoys views of the valley along the North Tualatin Mountains. We've also been partnered with THPRD on several nature and neighborhood grants as well, including restoration in oak habitat along Fano Creek at Greenway Park in Beaverton, and also in partnership with Adelante Mujeres and the Beaverton School District to provide a grant to THPRD in support of after-school nature programming for community members, especially Latinx, Latino students, through multi-year workforce development programs. Next slide, please. All of that highlights the benefits and power of working together in collaboration. This slide now is just providing a high-level view of where we are in this renewal process. Pending council direction, we're proposing these 5 phases you can see on the screen here to have all this work accomplished as early as February 22. We're currently in phase 3, so right in the middle here, which is where we are confirming and using the input that we've gathered in earlier phases to build the draft levy renewal package. So far, we've provided updates and have asked for feedback on this project at a range of tables and meeting, including quarterly park director meetings and in our stakeholder interviews this summer to help inform how the bond fund land acquisition work would move forward and how we can take care of that. We appreciate your staff's continued engagement and partnership in these conversations and leadership in helping to represent stakeholders in the county and in the area. Where we're at now, we hope to deliver a draft potential levy renewal package for our Metro Council for consideration early next year, and they'll decide whether or not to refer that measure for either a May or November ballot or at whatever place they decide. But that's where we're at currently in the process. Next slide, please. So what we've heard so far, we recently finished some public opinion polling research about a potential levy renewal. As you can see on the slide here, we found that there's very strong support for potential renewal of measure in 2022, with support across the region and demographic groups for continuing investments in parks, trails, and natural areas. Voters are especially interested in protecting clean water and restoring fish and wildlife habitat. They want to see us maintaining parks and natural areas to be accessible and welcoming to all, and preparing for future heat waves, drought, floods, and other climate emerging threats. Voters do have concerns about other major issues in the region, but even amid these concerns, they recognize that parks and nature investments are very valuable for ongoing health of our communities, the environment, and quite frankly, all of us as individuals. The findings from the public opinion research also mirrors what we've heard over the year from key stakeholders, including THPRD, to continue to pursue regional restoration priorities as guided by the Oregon Conservation Strategy and the Regional Conservation Strategy. Lastly, we have clearly seen and heard from partners like you about the importance of our parks, trails, and natural areas for community throughout the pandemic, through an incredible uptick in visitors, showing the critical importance of our park operations and our levy-funded programming to strengthen community connection to nature. We also heard that folks are interested in us maintaining and taking care of what we have before we go and build new things. They want to make sure that what's out there and is accessible is well maintained and taken care of. So next slide, please. I think we're on my second to last slide. I know you all have had a long afternoon and evening, so thank you again for bearing with us. So if you're interested in learning more information, you all are key partners in this work. We want to make sure that you have the information you need about this project and have an opportunity to hear your thoughts. So we'll continue to keep you and your staff updated on our efforts. If you have concerns or questions or information you'd like to share, we'd be eager to hear that either this evening or have more in-depth conversations later this fall. We also want to make sure that you have the resources to share the information about this project with your networks. At oregonmetro.gov/future funding, we have information that describes the impact of the levy in all parts of the region, including a fact sheet that's specific to the levy impacts in Washington County. So we'll also be happy to send these to you after today's meeting and hope that you'll share these out with your communities and networks. We're also planning to launch a survey for the general public in the coming weeks to hear more from people about how they'd like us to use our sites across the region. And I believe on October 26th, the Intertwine Alliance will be hosting a virtual coffee gathering as an opportunity to learn more about the local option levy and the work to develop a potential renewal package. There will also be opportunities there to ask questions and share feedback and information. So you can register on the Intertwine Alliance's website, which should be listed here. Yep, there it is. And we hope to see you there. And with that, we can go to the last slide. And that's the end of my presentation. Unless Councilor Gonzalez has anything else to add, thank you again for the time and happy to answer any questions that folks might have.
Does any of my board members have any questions? Nope. Thank you so much, John and Councilor Gonzalez, for presenting today. It was a great presentation. I know we value Metro and our partnership so well. I think, exponentially help our community working together. And so just thank you for all the work that you do. And we're here to support you as you've supported us. So we're really excited to move forward to help support this levy.
Tia, I think Felicita has their hand up.
There you go. Go ahead, Felicia.
There's a lot of faces and there's a lot of boxes, so no worries. No, thank you, John. Thank you, Councilor Gonzalez, for coming in. I mean, you speak our language. You share our same passions. I don't know if I have questions or concern. I mean, I can't help but be concerned about the kind of ballot measure fatigue, of course. And our communities are hurting right now. And I think we have to have some serious conversations about what are we going to be encouraging the community to engage in next year. And I know renewals are different and I'm mindful of that. But people are hurting. So I can't not acknowledge that. And I'm also curious about, I'm really excited that you mentioned climate change and that the public are interested in that. This might be a conversation for later, but I think about, building community resiliency, to ensure folks survive climate disasters. But I'm excited by everything you said, and we're so appreciative of the partnership, of the generosity, and Team Metro. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. If I may just, with the voter fatigue, we're cognizant of that. It's one of the reasons we're considering sort of giving ourselves the timeline of going out as early, as often as possible. We've also heard from our polling folks and the kind of gurus there that voters tend to really look at what's right in front of them in that moment in time. And so we do also want to be really, really thoughtful in the process. And those are some of the questions that were asked in that polling, which we'd be happy to share.
I'd love to see that data. And as you can imagine, like in a way, we've never been more popular, right? Our trails are packed and people are so profoundly appreciative. And so maybe it makes perfect sense to ask now. So thank you.
If I could too, Tia, I wanted to, really compliment Metro for their efforts. John and I do a lot of work together. We have direct conversations. We get a lot accomplished. The fact of the matter is that while many have the impression perhaps that our 2019 effort, bond effort, I call it ours because I feel like we're all partners in this, and every success Metro has is a success for the Park District as well, and vice versa. But even though it has taken a while to get us launched, the reality is we're doing it differently. You all at Metro are doing it differently. You specifically called out language in the bond levy, the bond measure, the title, in ensuring that we would address appropriately marginalized communities, and it is happening. And that takes effort. That's a change that is significant and is worth acknowledging. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Really appreciate you recognizing that. Definitely am working closely with our electeds and hearing feedback too, recognizing that, we want to get these dollars out. We know how much people love our parks. We want to continue building it. And if there's a few things that I can emphasize with that, we are doing things differently, and doing it right takes time. And we're also designing, a few new program areas that we've never really done before and wanted to deepen the impact of the bond. I'm hoping that in a few days, in a few weeks, I can send y'all an update as a board in some of those with some of the new things that we're doing with parks dollars. There's some new exciting developments that I know staff are tracking with the trails dollars and how we're allocating those to a more single application process, trying to cut down on the paperwork and all that. To respond to one of the comments that Director Monteblanco made, with our polling data, the council did mention, we want to hear from our voters, and we made an ask to oversample for voters of color too, because we know that traditional polling practices often leave out voices, the kind of folks that do participate in polling. And we were able to really see some fascinating divergences in the polling and the answers that folks gave about how important parks and trails have been during the pandemic. And in general, I know that we're going to be doing a lot more outreach now, and we'll be leaning on y'all too as national award winners. I think we have something to learn as well. But just thank you so much for the time, for allowing us to come and present today. And I really hope that come the spring, we're able to refer something to the ballot that makes sense, that doesn't raise taxes, and most importantly, just really digs into what people really want to see from this levy. And shout out to John for doing some good work.
Thank you. If I could, I just wanted to add, and thank you, Councilor Gonzalez, and to the board. I just want to also give a big shout out to Doug and Janine and the whole staff and crew, and Aisha just have really helped to be fantastic partners, pushing us and telling us when there's things that aren't working or could work better. Doing a really great job too. Doug has been, as you probably know, just a great voice for some of the regionalism and connecting with other park providers and jurisdictions as well, and helping to, just be a great voice beyond just the kind of boundaries, the artificial boundaries of THPRD, and really thinking about how everyone in the region should be able to have some of these opportunities. So it's great to have that partnership. And Doug did not ask me to say this at all. He just wanted to take the opportunity to share the appreciation to have a great thought partner like Doug and the rest of the team, and clearly all of you, and really, trying to make some big changes and revolutionize how we provide these great services to communities, but really look at that targeted universalism and catching folks that have been left out of a lot of these processes and have really great ideas to share. So thank you for being partners with us and continuing to push us to be better, and also, participating as we try to make bigger and new changes while not losing sight of those basic things that are so important. And I love that idea of community resilience because it's so important. So thank you for raising that as well, Director Monteblanco. And thank you all again for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, I think next we had audience time, but I don't think we had any audience testimony received. So next we'll move on to,
I think we did have one.
Oh, we did have one? Okay,
Yeah.
Go for it, Heidi.
We do have one. This comes to us via email from Wendy Kroger. Do I need to read the address into the record, or?
No, it's in the record just by
Okay,
having written
okay.
testimony. Thanks.
Perfect. And so the subject is Cooper Mountain Regional Park CMRP expansion, timely after our conversation with our Metro peers. So the goal, complete the Cooper Mountain Regional Park, the CMRP, as sought by the public by adding 250 plus acres to the current park as envisioned in 3 separate Metro bond measures. CMRP completion has been promised but not yet delivered. So to equity, proximity is key to both equity and access. The area around CMRP is the last available land to create a large regional park closest to our diverse population centers. For example, Aloha, South Cooper Mountain, and Tigard. The city of Beaverton counts on Cooper Mountain area to meet citywide density standards and enhance affordable housing. A fully developed CMRP will serve so many more diverse populations than Chehalem Ridge farther west. To climate resilience, the public looks to THPRD as a community leader to protect, preserve, and enhance our remaining natural areas and reduce impacts of climate change. And concerns. We've been trying to complete Cooper Mountain Regional Park for 20 years. With great respect to those who have tried, it's not working. How can we do it differently? What's the plan going forward to complete the expansion of Cooper Mountain Regional Park? The slow pace of implementing projects on the west side using 2019 bond funds is worrisome. As time passes, new elected local officials come on board, there's no reason to assume they understand the longstanding public desire to complete CMRP as a natural area. I know the concept of willing seller, but also know that much work can be done to understand parameters, challenges, parties prior to actual purchase. When a willing seller comes forward, we, the public, need to be ready with cash in hand. This is a very complex project requiring sophisticated conservation work done by an expert. To history, THPRD has envisioned and built an equitable, geographically complex, and botanically diverse system of parks and nature areas by land purchases and crafting greenways in the north, the nature park in the middle, and Cooper Mountain on the south. The future indicates that CMRP will be surrounded by densely clustered housing, including affordable housing. 2 requests. 1, please show your public support for completion, expansion of CMRP to meet the 20-year vision of a large 450 plus acre nature park on Cooper Mountain. 2, please meet soon with Metro and City of Beaverton representatives to address next steps. 3, please secure purchase money where there's line item in the budget, THPRD and Metro, and please secure money to begin the process. Where's the line item in the budget for Tualatin Hills, THPRD and Metro? And lastly, number 4, to get over the finish line, please consider engaging an expert consultant, likely a third party, to take the lead in this complex project, working with multiple jurisdictions, financial backers, landowners, and the public. Part-time attention has not worked. Thank you, Wendy, for your public testimony. And that is all we have for this evening.
Doug, did you have a response? Small response?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is similar to many conversations we've had, and we will certainly continue. We're going to get on the books a critical meeting with Metro and City of Beaverton, as the board is aware. You know, as these refinement programs continue and the community planning process City of Beaverton has launched, it's going to be critical to, you know, adequately protect attention to this very effort of growing the land base, parkland space, in that critical area of the greater Cooper Mountain.
Okay, perfect. Now we will move on to committee liaisons updates. Anybody want to go first? Heidi?
Sure, I will go first. A number of things. 2 important meetings that I attended this week this past month as the board liaison were both the pension and our audit committee meetings. Unfortunately, I had a work conflict with the audit committee, but I had a chance to jump into the end of the meeting when Courtney was still there. So Courtney and I were able to touch base and review some of what happened during the audit meeting. And to my understanding, an evaluation of the audit results will take place closer to the end of this month, with a presentation to the audit committee late December, to be determined, late December-ish. So they're moving forward with that with our external audit. Or independent audit. And then with the pension, appreciate the leadership of Christine as our newly found chair with that committee, and the work being done there, and the representation that we have by the Employee Association at that meeting as well. Also had an opportunity to attend induction of National Honor Society students at Mount Side High School this month, and part of that was in an effort to promote one of their values of service and service in the community. So they will be working on at least one volunteer project with us with THPRD that they have scheduled. And I noted a number of other ways in which they could get involved with THPRD, and had the opportunity to attend the Tualatin Hills Park Foundation annual meeting, which was in the middle of the month. And kudos to Eileen Kravitz for her work with the foundation and putting that together, and Jennifer Bowers, our chair for the foundation, and all of the staff who supported that event. It was nice. We had wonderful weather out at Mountain View Champions Park, and I will continue to give my plug, even though I'm not the board liaison to the foundation, to find ways in which we can continue to contribute to the foundation. There is, there's a current fundraising opportunity, which maybe Alfredo wants to speak to. I won't take thunder there. So that's my update.
Anyone else?
Shall I just jump right in? Heidi teed me up pretty.
Go for it.
But,
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we had a great meeting at Mountain View Champions Park, and it was really cool to see the other THPF leadership and sort of get myself immersed there, and to get a great tour of the park. So the foundation is currently has an active program, Help a Senior campaign, and in which they're raising funds to help seniors return to the LC Stir Center. The funds being raised will contribute to financial aid to, let's see, they are trying to raise funds to help 200 seniors who need financial assistance purchasing monthly passes, and you can find information about that. And I'm proud to announce that I am the latest. The THPF now has an online capacity for recurring giving, and yours truly is one of the latest recurring givers. Maybe modest, but it's a good start. So for those who need an easier or lower barrier to access or to making a contribution, that's one I would recommend. So, and that's it for me.
Just super briefly. So went to Nature and Trails meeting. We talked about native species and committee recruitment, which I know everyone's working on. I had a conflict with the preschool for all, so I'm waiting for notes so that I can forward them to you and I can read them and understand what I missed. And tomorrow I get to go to a Talking Walls meeting, which I'm super excited about. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, so our next one is consent agenda. Do we have any motions? Alfredo?
Yes, I move that we adopt the consent agenda.
This is Heidi. I will second.
Felicita Monteblanco,
Yes.
Heidi Edwards,
Yes.
Alfredo Moreno,
Yes.
Tia Ping.
Yes. And then moving on to unfinished business.
You bet. We've got a couple quick updates for you. First, Julie is up with the sports affiliated process.
Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm Julie Rocha, Interim Sports and Inclusion Director. And as Doug said, I'm here to give a brief update on the affiliate review. So the stakeholder group has been working hard with staff over the last 6 months and drafting recommendations on how we can improve the process. As a result, we're ready for public outreach. So we're going to start reaching out to all of our existing affiliates in October and November, and plan to have a public meeting where we will invite all of those seeking affiliation and then just open for general comment. After we complete that process, we'll work on revising the affiliation paperwork and policy. This is going to take us a little bit of time, so we don't plan to be back to the board with final recommendations, most likely in February or March. So that's where we are today, and I just wanted to give a brief, quick update. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any of my board members have questions? Felicia, I saw your hand this time.
Just really quick. Hi, Julie. Thank you.
Hello.
I'm just wondering, when you talk about outreach to affiliates, are you talking about like just the leadership, or are you wanting to hear from like parents and the participants? I'm being nosy at this.
Yeah, we're going out to the club. So we're going to meet with soccer and invite their presidents, their field reps, and the organization leaders, because that will affect them the most on what they would need to re-affiliate, which would be like the numbers of in and out of district, could mean how their behavior is. We're creating a stakeholder affiliate review card that would then just kind of score them out of how they're doing as an affiliate and are being a good partner. We talk about volunteer hours. So it's really more for the leadership of the clubs. We are going to have a public open meeting that's open to anybody. And tentatively, we're looking at November 16th for that meeting. And we will be reaching out to all the folks that have reached out throughout this process who are seeking affiliation, and personally invite them to join that meeting as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Julie, I have a question. For that public meeting, or when you do that outreach, are you outreaching to people who are also not seeking affiliate, like community groups that have requested to use field time or have sections of field time and those kinds of things, whether that's like a community group, marginalized group, or club, private club or something that just want a small?
Yeah, so we've been working with a few groups. So we've got a group from the mosque that come out and play soccer. So we've been engaging them in this process. So we do have a running list of folks that we're going to invite, and then we will do our normal public outreach, work with Holly's team to get it out on our website and social media for folks to come and provide that input.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we'll move on. Melissa, thank you, Julie. Melissa Markham is up with a volunteer program update.
Thank you and good evening. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce a volunteer who has earned the President's Gold Volunteer Service Award, Akshaya Arun, who volunteered just over 100 hours this past year. Akshaya is a RISE youth leader with THPRD who volunteered with camps at Conestoga in the Nature Center this past summer. She is also a member of an adoption group, Sangeeta Sanjay, who regularly performs litter pickups along the Rock Creek Trail between Kaiser Woods and Bethany Lake. In addition, she also volunteered with, and I might mispronounce this, Nariva PDX. Is that right, Akshaya?
Yeah, it's an abbreviation, but yeah.
Okay. And if it's okay, I would like to read the letter sent to Akshaya by the President's office, because I thought it was very appropriate. The American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us. I congratulate you on taking it upon yourself to contribute to the public good, and I'm proud to present you with the President's Gold Volunteer Service Award in recognition for your 100.25 hours of service to this great nation. Throughout our country's history, the American story has been strengthened by those who combine an optimism about what can be with the resilience to turn that vision into reality. I know I'm not alone in recognizing that those who are willing to step up and volunteer in service of community and country are essential to the ongoing work of forming our more perfect union. By sharing your time and passion, you are helping discover and deliver solutions to the challenges we face, solutions that we need now more than ever. We are living in a moment that calls for hope and light and love, hope for our futures, light to see our way forward, and love for one another. Through your service, you are providing all three. On behalf of the American people, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you for your volunteer leadership, and I encourage you to continue to answer the call to serve. The country's counting on you. So at this time, I just wanted to give Akshaya the opportunity to share her award and maybe say a few words.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Markham. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for this, for letting me have this award. It was such a great honor to work with THPRD to receive this award, and I really enjoyed working with all the students at camps and helping as much as I can for the community. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, and on that note, I have a second topic to also update you on as well. But before we move on, if I didn't know if anybody wanted to say something personal to Akshaya or.
Absolutely. Akshaya, thank you for all of your work. And if I'm not mistaken, you were also on the visioning team as well. Is that correct?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. But yeah. Congratulations. I mean, and I said it earlier when we were congratulating some of our other volunteers, like this work in the district cannot be done without our community members and people like you. And I'm curious, are you still in high school, and what are your future plans, and what are you doing?
Yeah,
volunteering.
Yeah, I mean, I love volunteering. Like, it's just great to work with so many other people, and I really love like young kids. So working at those camps was like awesome for me. And yeah, I am a sophomore at Westview High School this year. So, but like, I'm not really sure what my future plans are really. So
wonderful. Well, thank you for all of your service. I mean, we couldn't do it without you. I know Melissa knows that, but I know our board of directors really appreciates all your hard work, and the peers that are also volunteers with you, and the kids and the people that you're serving. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Woohoo! I just want to say I am a Wildcat too, so thank you for all you do in representing Westview. But yeah, your future is bright. We're so thankful for everything. You're like ahead of all your peers in being able to affect how our community is and make the world a little bit better in any way that you can. And just thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We don't know you, but we're so proud of you already, and we're just so glad that you're reflective of our community, and in just doing so much to give back already at such a young age. You have just like the brightest future to do more good. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, THPRD has like been part of my life since I was small. I've been to like a lot of camps and stuff, so definitely.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I will move on to my next update then. So I inherited a project from Keith Watson in the recent months. It's a Free Little Libraries project. So the Park District is partnering with Beaverton City Library to install free little libraries in district parks. District sites were selected to improve access and remove barriers to community members who have limited access to physical libraries for many reasons, including transportation, work schedules, language barriers, lack of knowledge about the library itself, or negative experiences associated with past visits. The library actually selected 4 sites within the Park District, including Pioneer Park, Wonderland Park, Greenway Park, and Barsati Park. And so installing community libraries at these sites would reduce many of those barriers by bringing books to people where they live and recreate. The structures will be purchased before the end of the year, with installation planned starting in 2022. So, any questions? Oh, cool, thank you.
You bet. Well done, and that's it.
Great, sounds good. Thank you everybody for all the great work, and I guess we will adjourn for tonight. Have a great evening.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.